podcast here on CCJM Consulting. And this month we have a very special guest. We have Leroy. I'm going to introduce Leroy, full name Leroy Winston Scott of Sacher Agency, and he's also a world explorer and an eternal curious person. So let me introduce you and bring you up, Leroy. Hello, Leroy. Let me see. Here we go. Hello, Leroy.
Hey, good evening, afternoon.
Yes, so tell us where you're streaming from, Leroy.
I'm streaming from out here in Chiang Mai, northern Thailand at the moment. It's about 11 p.m. here.
11 p.m. So if you're listening or watching us live here, we are in London and it's 4 p.m. So technology is fantastic, isn't it?
It's like you're just around the corner from me.
Yes. And it wasn't so long ago we were having a coffee and a chat in central London. Well, about 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago, just before I bought the one-way ticket out here to Asia to try and make things work.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Leroy. I love what you're doing. I love all the buzz around your work about obviously you as a person, your personality. You're currently SEO strategist at Sacher Agency, and they have fantastic values. And I'm just bringing up on the screen one of their quotes. Find people who are on the same mission you are on and build something awesome together. I really like that. I'm pretty sure it resonates with you, Leroy.
Absolutely. It's not just a motto. That's every call that we have, every project we work on, every assignment we take on. It's a complete team effort.
And from what I understood, 15% of the profit goes to saving the Amazon forests. Is that right?
Absolutely. Two of the two founders, we spent a month with a tribe in the Amazon jungle, and they were so impacted by seeing the ways that their land were being taken away from them deceitfully that they had to do something. And that was the genesis of Sacha and where it came from.
Wow, amazing. I'm simply loving that. Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us today. And what I want to do while you're with us is share your story, share your journey, and inspire our listeners and viewers. So most of them are entrepreneurs or small business owners. And I'd like to start by asking you the question, why you became an entrepreneur, Leroy?
I think other entrepreneurs and business owners can totally relate. It was the only thing that made sense to me. It was like I wanted to live a certain lifestyle, mostly on my own terms. And I was finding myself always being increasingly frustrated in different jobs for different reasons. So when I graduated from university in 2015, I remember saying to myself and friends at the time that my goal was to never write a CV again. And it wasn't going to happen immediately, but that was exactly what I was going to do.
Fabulous. I mean, I completely get it, and I'm sure our listeners and our viewers get it as well. And how did you start your journey, your adventure?
The first thing I think was after I graduated, I spent the first 9 months, I just packed up my bag and traveled across Europe. It was the doorstep. It was right across the waters. And I was an outdoor education specialist focused primarily in Austria and Switzerland. And that just opened me up to a whole new way of living, people, cultures, communities. And then I also went on some crazy road trips through Eastern Europe, and the adventure inside me just went, oh, I like this. This is fun. So my love for travel grew. I was seeing the world through my own eyes. I was meeting new communities. I was discovering life firsthand. I was like, this is what I want more of. I'm going to figure out how to create this.
And you did at some point return to the UK. What happened?
So I did in November 2015. So it was 9 months after I graduated. Came back from my graduation ceremony. And then I decided that London is where I was going to try, because it was the biggest challenge in terms of getting a job, setting up, being able to make it. So I did what many people probably have done, crashed on friends' sofas, crashed in their rooms. They were very kind to give me their space, looked for a job, got my own space, then found 3 jobs within a year because I was still finding myself restless and feeling a bit trapped. So even in my 3rd role, which was, I had decent enough income, I had the security, just graduated, and I still had quite a relative freedom within the role, but I was still increasingly frustrated with my situation.
So talking about frustration, what was the cause of your frustration?
I think a lot of it came when I took the time to realize that I was living in conditions set by somebody else for somebody else. So that was me giving my time to something I wasn't passionate about, and realizing what I am passionate about is contributing to the world, making a difference, traveling, new experiences. I love risk, I love growth, I love life, I love living. So it was during that period when I decided that I needed to take control and make it happen on my own terms, and now was the time to do it.
So we our path crossed just before you left, isn't it? So your last position at UAL, University of Arts of London, isn't it?
Yes, and it was a good role. It was a good role.
It was challenging role as well, in many different ways, if I remember correctly from what you were saying. And you left after that, isn't it?
I did. After that, I got the one-way ticket. So that was September 2017. And then I bought the one-way ticket to Nepal to volunteer, to set up my own ideas, to build up my freelance work that I was doing. And the adventure called me. The adventure called me a lot at that point.
And the online community has been following you, Leroy, because you were keeping everyone posted with your adventures, which is, it seemed pretty unreal for us in London. It was like, what is Leroy up to now? What's happening? And you did get in some trouble as well, if I remember. We're probably not going to go in details, but that's why I refer to it as adventure. But it's living as well, isn't it? I don't know if you have already, but you can definitely write a book out of all of those adventures.
Absolutely. Definitely some hiccups along the way, no doubt about that. Not the smoothest road, but there was something about, and I think it translates into business as well. There was something about this desire for me to just go out and seek life, and I'd been reading a lot of books about people that had gone on to live a style or a way that I really looked up to or that I really admired. And there were so many similar patterns throughout these books. And one of them was the struggle, and one of them was the adventure was there. Like there wasn't the known, there wasn't the complete security. It was an idea and a belief and a sort of faith to then keep taking actions to go through with it, and letting go of fear. Because when making business decisions, same as when making decisions on your own sort of safety in a moment, you don't want it to be coming from fear. You want it to be coming from rational logic thought, rather than panic sort of emotional reaction. So it was just constantly shedding the fears in my life as well.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you, Leroy. Fear stops us from doing a lot of things, or simply overthinking things, isn't it?
Absolutely. And thinking that we already know the outcome without actually knowing the outcome, and the outcome is 99% of the time it's something negative. And this could be minor, from asking a favor from somebody to applying for a job you don't think you're fully qualified for, to every facet of life is we do not know the outcome until we try, until we find out. And then if it's not the best of outcomes or the outcome you desired, you'll know and you'll learn from it. And it's a much smaller thing to get over something going slightly wrong than to constantly desire to do something. That builds at a horrible rate.
It builds regrets later in life, isn't it?
Yes.
How did you shift this situation, Leroy? So this, you were talking about this frustration. So how did you shift? Was it by leaving everything and going on to your adventure? How did you shift that situation?
It was a little bit of leaving everything, but leaving everything with mechanisms in place. So first thing I started to do was read about remote money, remotely earning money online, and location independence, because these were the words I was hearing that resonated with me. So I did a bunch of reading on just how to make money online, wrote down all the different ways, started to look at if there's things that appealed to me, didn't appeal to me, and just got stuck in with that. And then also I did my thesis on the socioeconomic climate of Nepal, so I had some contacts, so I knew that I could get into some volunteer work at the same time. So it was a bit tactical, so I knew that I could volunteer my time for some housing and some food, and then also use the time that I had, because I wasn't in the safety net of my surroundings anymore, to start developing my skills and income and developing further my ability to earn money online, not from a contracted job. I think that was a big deal for me, and just sort of mentally, that was a big thing to get over.
Sounds really truly amazing. Not a lot of people are strong enough to make that jump and make those decisions. So what was the main would you say that your frustration was feeding that strength?
The frustration and knowing deep down what I wanted to do. I couldn't lie to myself anymore. I couldn't pretend that this was all right or this was working for me. And I couldn't, for me, this is very personally speaking, I couldn't hide my happiness behind like going out or going partying and things like that. That wasn't giving me the fulfillment I wanted. So I was like, now, for me, it was a combination of, I knew that I'm not going to be in a better position now if I wait 5 years, because life doesn't go, oh, it's going to get easier. In fact, things come up. So I was like, now is my time. And if it doesn't work, I had certain safety nets. I knew I could get jobs. I do have a degree behind me. So I knew that as far as risk goes, it was worth it. It was a calculated risk.
Fabulous. And when did you get the Sacher Agency? When did it come into the picture?
So the two friends, two dear friends of mine, they were also looking to create financial independence and also how they could contribute. They were on very similar trajectory as I was in terms of what they wanted to achieve and how they wanted to achieve it. And one of them as well was doing spectacularly well in the private sector financially, but he was still feeling the same frustrations I was, and I was at an entry-level position. So I'm thinking, oh, I could have these same frustrations even if I do keep hitting these levels. So Sacha was born because it was the skills that we have. It's stuff that we've been able to work on, and like marketing and such forth, and SEO. The trip to the jungle for my two buddies, my two brothers, that impacted their core to the point that they knew they had to do something. And using our skills as a private company to be able to bring a difference around directly to a community in an affected area without having to jump through any sort of hoops or any mandates is absolutely incredible. And it's also the way we're able to run the business being this way. So it just came in, like everything came together at the right time, and the right people were in the right positions in life, and were in the right stages to be able to make something happen.
And I think one of the tips you mentioned earlier when we were talking for small business owners, you mentioned team, and so what would be your a very important tip for small business owners when it comes to team?
I think with that, I'd say select your team wisely, because you're going to go through tough situations. There's going to be close deadlines, unexpected workloads, client decisions. The people you have around you will help that dream come true. They'll have your back. It's like they're your soldiers. They'll go to the trenches with you, and also hire people smarter than you, more experienced, more knowledgeable, because creating that A team that shares your vision and your desires and has the ability to get the outcomes that you want, that will carry you through all the hurdles, and let go of as much work as possible. You're a business owner. You're going to be busy. Your hands are full. And trust and empower your team to grow into leaders.
Loving it. And what about entrepreneurs? What piece of advice would you or tip would you like to share with entrepreneurs out there?
Don't wait until it's 100% right to start. Like that one, I heard that one myself, but I didn't quite understand it. But like I've held off on starting ideas because they weren't 100% right, or I didn't know 100% what was involved. And like the honest truth is nobody does. Like I still don't. The key to success is not knowing everything right away, but the willingness to learn and just to get there, because you'll fall, but with a growth mindset, you'll get up. And people, a robust network of people, have a strong strategy and work with the strengths of the people around, because that's helped our sort of current success. And whether it's a pitch for a new client, pitching new strategies, developing our own next steps, sometimes we're only 80% prepared, but we're 100% committed, and that's what gets us through. And be prepared to work hard. Like I thought I knew that, but like you have to love what you do, or love the reason you do it, or love the people you do it with.
About this earlier, weren't we? So just remind our viewers and listeners what time it is your end.
It's 11 o'clock now, and it's not unusual for me to still be active at this time. I have daily calls from 7 p.m. until 9:30, sometimes 10 p.m. And that's just the thing. Yeah, I'm working probably 10, 9, 10, 11-hour days, 6 days a week. It's hard work, but it's worth it. It's like this idea of if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life is rubbish. It's just work won't be tiresome or draining. Work will be exhilarating and motivating. You'll still work hard though.
Yes, I agree with that. And tell our viewers and listeners, did you have a routine in place that really helped you?
I did. I have. They change. I think the biggest thing for me is my routine has. First, before I had a routine, I was like, I've got to get into this routine. I've got to do it because that's what successful people do. And then I kept stumbling because I wasn't doing it. And I just started to listen to, what do I want to do? So I tried everything. At the moment, my morning routine consists of water the first thing. Like we are dehydrated when we wake up, so it's always water first thing. I do some yoga, I do some exercise, I do some dancing. Sometimes I'm sharing my Facebook stories, sometimes I won't.
Sometimes a bit more than I would like to.
It's hot over here in Thailand.
just joking. You know, we're in London over here.
But it's I think the
dancing
biggest thing.
Yes.
Dancing is vital, and just looking after your mental health. Like it's all right not to know everything. It's all right not to do it perfect every time. It's all right if you mess up every now and then. It's just be kind to yourself, but motivate yourself, take action, and just if something don't work out the first time, it will do the second time, or the third, or the fourth. Sometimes it could take more.
I'm sure our viewers and listeners are really intrigued and like to know a little bit more about you. So tell us a little bit more about your upbringing, Leroy.
Yes, it's definitely been complicated. To start with, my father was in the army, so we'd move towns every like 2, 3, maybe sometimes 4 years. And I think I counted, by the time I was 16, I'd been to 11 schools, maybe 9, 10, or 11, something like that. And I then moved over to the UK when I was 16, and that's when my father retired from the army, and we moved to a small town in the UK called Mansfield. I didn't really find my focus at all to begin with when I was young. I dropped out of college with, I don't think I had even an AS grade. I completely flunked out of college. Worked at McDonald's, and I was there full time for 5 years. So I lost lots of focus in that time. I moved out of my parents, and all of my time was pretty much devoted to partying or working. It wasn't the best of cycles, and there just came a moment, I think, when I could see my future ahead of me. I could see like store managers, and they'd been working for McDonald's for 25, 30 years, even some of them 12, 15 years. And I was like, that's cool, but I don't think that's the best life can get. So I was like, okay, let's see if there's something else out there. And as I came sort of restless at McDonald's, the McDonald's knew I got restless with them, so they fired me on a management technicality. And then I remember I sat there, I was like, fired from McDonald's with no education, and I was like, all right, okay, something's got to change here. Like this isn't the best situations to be in.
There is hope. There is hope. You are in a good place right now. All right.
Absolutely. But that was probably one of the most beautiful moments in my life, because I remember I was sat next door to us was a KFC, and I was sat in my car, and I was a bit shell shocked because I didn't quite know. Like McDonald's had been most from the age of 16 to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, because 2 years I was there part-time. So like 22, 23. And I was just like, oh, okay, this sucks. And that moment probably lit the fire in me, which has never been able to go out, because that was a low that I never really wanted to feel again. And I had to move back in with my parents, and they were going through a divorce. So it was all a bit awkward because, you know, nobody really wants their oldest kid to come back. Like the aim is for you to go out, like that's the desire. So that was some fun there. And yeah, it was just, I had to do something. So I went back to college and made my way through university, and then just was like, I'm going to create a platform to live life my way. So that period probably gave me a lot of the guts, if you will, to be able to make decisions, because at that point I was like, nothing's going to get me lower than that. So there's really not much to fear.
So share with us, Leroy, what's your business, your favorite quote when it comes to business?
My favorite quote is definitely, I think I got it on my Facebook somewhere as well, is we cannot know our limits until we've gone beyond them. It's a business quote and it's a life quote. We spend so much time just telling ourselves that we can't do things, or that's not our possibility, or that's not for me. And I discovered from, like, I learned to ski in an interesting situation where I told an organization that I did know how to ski, so I can teach some kids, but I didn't actually. So a friend of mine taught me real quick. And then just from like that to whether it's that or developing a new strategy for a client or anything, you have to go slightly beyond your limit. Because if I'd stayed within my limits, I'd have probably gone for a job at Burger King or something like that. But by going beyond my limits, I don't even know. Like I'm contributing to the Amazon through work. I'm free. I think I've been to like 34, 35 countries in the last few years. Like life's incredible right now. I'm totally appreciative of it, but it's definitely by seeing what was there beyond the limits.
Of course, absolutely. And what do you like? What do you like the most about running a small business?
I think it's given me the thing that I've been searching for forever, which is freedom, and not just my freedom. It's I have the freedom to make choices. I have the freedom to make mistakes. I do as well. That's a huge one. I have the freedom to make mistakes. I have the freedom to grow professionally. And I'm in a situation with my friends, with my brothers, which is unreal. It provides freedom. Sacha provides freedom for the tribe that we help, the 500 plus tribe members that we're working closely with. We support family members. It's incredible. We support family members. We allow other people to work remotely. We can hire other people, they can work remotely. I think that's my biggest thing that I love about Sacha, and this is definitely just the freedom.
Oh, is this how you pronounce it? Sacha? Not Sacha. Yeah. Sacha. Sacha. Where does the name come from, Leroy?
It comes from the Quechua tribe, which is a tribe that we work with in the Amazon. Their name for rainforest is Sacha. So that's where
my apologies. Sacha. Sacha. And tell us, Leroy, what keeps you motivated?
Two things. I always remember the dream lifestyle I want to lead. I'm still not there yet. There's still much more that I want to accomplish, many bigger adventures I want to have. That bug doesn't go smaller, it just grows and gets bigger. And I also like to remember being sat there in that car, remembering how I felt at that moment. It's a beautiful reminder of just now, you know, every spreadsheet I do, every content piece I review, every strategy I bring forward, every idea, no matter what work I'm doing, it has a positive effect on people, not just a general certain type or group of people, but the ripple effect from the work that I get to do contributes to people's lives, and it doesn't take, and that motivates me massively.
Amazing. And we were talking earlier before we came live. I hear that you have some other projects in the pipeline, but I'm sure you'll let everyone know. So keeping things fresh and growing and extending your expertise, your skills, and your reach with new projects, isn't it?
Absolutely. It never stops. I think any entrepreneur knows this. Any business owner is an entrepreneur. It doesn't stop. You don't all of a sudden want to just rest and be like, okay, well, I've done it now. I've made it. It's okay. What's next? What more can I do? What more can I achieve? What other goals can I accomplish? What other goals can I set? It never ends, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Wow, simply amazing. I'm sure you've inspired and motivated a lot of our listeners and viewers today, Leroy. So really, thank you so much, Leroy, for the time you spent with us on our podcast. If you want to get in touch with Leroy, you can find him on Facebook, Leroy Winston Scott, or you can send him an email. I think that's the best way to contact you. Is that right, Leroy?
It is. That's definitely the best way. And thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you again. It's been a while. Really appreciated it.
It has. And listen, let's stay in touch online as we do. Stay safe. Stay safe, Leroy. Don't get into some crazy adventures at the moment. Let's stay put. And yes, we'll probably have you back again, maybe to talk about your exciting next project. Who knows?
That'd be great. I'd love that. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much, and your evening, Leroy. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Leroy.